Most people think they're afraid of failure. They say that they're scared to start the business, scared to take the risk, scared to put themselves out there. But the truth is a little different. A lot of people aren't actually afraid of failing, right? They're afraid of what would happen if they actually succeeded, right? And you're probably thinking they're scared of succeeding. What is this guy on about? This guy's lost his mind. But I haven't, right? I'm sure subconsciously or consciously you probably thought about, okay, if I get XYZ, if I make 10K per month, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna have to be a lot more focused. I can't go out with my friends as much. I can't maybe just play Fortnite, like whatever. I can't do something. I can't like bum around, right? Because obviously you've got your goal, you've got your 10K per month, you got your whatever you want, right? But if you fail, you can blame bad timing, bad luck, the wrong opportunity, right? Which is why a lot of people decide to stay in that kind of failure mindset and they're completely fine with failing because there's so much things, there's so much external factors you can blame that you don't really feel like you failed. You kind of feel like it wasn't your opportunity, you couldn't really do this right now, it wasn't the best time, right? But success doesn't. Success doesn't allow you to keep the exact same identity because it removes all the excuses. The moment you succeed, you can't say the system held you back anymore. You can't say you never had a chance. You can't say I could have if I tried, whatever, right? That's why a lot of people you say, yeah, I have the potential to do this, but they didn't actually do it because like a lot of people like in sports, right? They say I got the potential to be a really good runner, but they don't, blah blah blah. The reason why people don't want to succeed is because success completely forces you to become someone different. And that's why so many people try to avoid it, but they don't know they're trying to avoid it, right? The main part why a lot of people get so successful and a lot of people don't is because they're not trying to avoid the kind of new person that they're going to become once they become successful, right? Because success isn't just rewards and money, it's responsibility at the end of the day, right? Once you prove you can win, the standards change. People expect a lot more from you, right? The mistakes that you make are gonna matter a lot more. So if you're on like 10K per month business, you decide that you don't want to work for the next 5 days, everything can just crumble. Everything can just crumble right in front of your face, and all your actions get noticed, which a lot of people don't want. Like making YouTube videos, like I'm a bit inconsistent, I'm not gonna lie, but making YouTube videos obviously isn't something that you'd want to do. And once you kind of make money, it's kind of you don't actually have to, but a lot of people just don't want to put themselves out there and let themselves be noticed, right? They just don't want people to know that they're making money, right? Because they just prefer the introvert lifestyle, which can be fine. They just like being completely to themselves. But it becomes a role that you have to live up to, right? And that's why a lot of people stay attached to to the idea of having potential, right? Because it's just like a safe feeling. If anyone asks you, if you're like a kind of an ex-footballer and someone asks you, oh yeah, did you make it? Are you playing for like Premier League club or whatever? You'd be like, no, but I had a lot of potential. I just didn't really try, but I could have if I did try. But potential means you could have became great, but it doesn't actually mean you could, which is why all these professional people, all of the people in your desired, who, not in your desired rally, but all the people who are in a place where you would want to be, is because they weren't afraid of failing because they knew they were going to succeed already, and they became the person they had to become, even if it meant they were uncomfortable, right? That's why a lot of people, they just sabotage themselves without realizing it. For example, say you're gonna start like some new project, they just completely delay it. So they say you're on a Thursday night and you're like to yourself, okay, I want to start this new like business. You want to start smma, right? Okay, I'm gonna give it my all on Monday because it's a new week. No, they're just kind of delaying exactly what's gonna happen, and then Monday comes around. And guess what? They're gonna start next Monday, or they're gonna start on Wednesday, or they're gonna start the next day. Blah blah blah. They just keep delaying what they want to do because they don't actually want to do it, or they just kind of distract themselves with social media, just doom scroll. They overthink every decision, at analysis paralysis. I think that's what it's called when you just keep over analyzing everything and you don't actually get anything done, or they wait for the so-called perfect moment. But as long as they never fully commit, their potential will stay untouched, and I'll just stay the exact same person that they are, even if they have all the potential in the world, right? That's why hard work always beats talent at the end of the day. So what people call a fear of failure is often some. Sorry, Siri just went off. But as long as people, as long as people never fully commit, they're never going to be that person who they want to become, right? They're never going to be X, Y, Z. They're never going to reach your desired reality, right? So what people often call fear is something deeper, right? Is the fear of responsibility, is the fear of change, and is the fear of pressure. Because real success demands transformation, right? You gotta read all these books like Rally, Transurfing, Outsmarting Rally. Those are just two of the books that I've read. I'm not really that tapped in, I'm not gonna lie. I'm just kind of starting this journey of mine. But yeah, a lot of these books really help because they kind of explain to you that you shouldn't let this old frequency, this kind of old mindset, this old kind of program thinking pattern kind of bring you down and be the reason why you don't achieve XYZ, right? So yeah, I mean that's kind of the video. The whole kind of purpose of the video is you just gotta be a lot more aware of your surroundings, right? And you gotta understand that failure and the fear of failure isn't actually a fear of failure, it's a fear of success. Because if you fear failure, if you even think you can fail, if you have a backup, if you have any of this type of stuff, you're never gonna make it because everyone who has a backup will just do the backup because they feel safe and is the safe route. Because obviously, right, a lot of people probably have the perspective that your rally isn't already decided. Your rally, like, so much things can happen. If you're starting a business, right, is unreliable, this, that, just a bunch of excuses. But all these excuses are just BS, right? Because realistically, if you just put in the work every single day, you could be transform yourself to become a 100k per month person. Guess what, man? You're a 100k per month person. Do you know what I mean? So the real question is, are you ready to become the person that success actually requires? And once you become that person, man, boom, boom, boom. I don't know, I've never done that before, but yeah, you'll instantly become that person. So yeah, I hope that was a bit of a valuable video. Maybe I'll start posting a little bit more. I've just been a bit inconsistent, but yeah, see you guys later. Bye, peace.